Hello there everyone and welcome to this third video in the TypeScript, the Type JavaScript tutorial series. And in this video, we will be understanding how to declare variables or constants in our TypeScript.
Let me in, yeah.
So everyone, if you remember from previous video, we were able to write our TypeScript code inside our source.ts file and then compile this TypeScript into JavaScript using the tsc command into the main.js file. So if you don't know how to compile your TypeScript code into JavaScript code, please see the video above shown in the cards and learn how to compile your TypeScript. So using this main.js and index.html and the live server, we were able to see the changes in our source.ts and compile main.js directly into our browser. So in this video, we'll be covering how to declare variables or data using TypeScript. And there are two ways in which we can declare variables or data in TypeScript. These are var, let, and const. We will be covering all these three in this video only, and we'll start with var. So to declare a variable with var, we write the keyword var and then the identifier x, for instance, and then we assign a value, and we can assign 119 for this example. So we can console.log this so that we can see the output. Save this, and I'm going to tell you one more trick for the tsc command in this video, which is tsc space -w, so that we can watch for the changes inside our source.ts file also. Now, if you type the source.ts over there and then we want our output inside main.js, hit enter, and you can see it says starting compilation in watch mode, and then you'll see font 0 errors, watching files for changes. And let's go to index.html and run the live server so that we can see the changes in the browser. Right click and open inspect. So in the console you can see it says 119. So there was an issue with var, that is it is unpredictable to understand the scope of this variable. It is actually global scope here, and if I create a function over there, for instance I create a function with the name print x and no parameters, no types, I don't need it right now. Okay, and then we say another var x equals to 111, and we log that var over there, and then we call the function outside the block simply by saying print x and the calling brackets. Save this file, go to a browser, you can see it will say 111 and 119. So the value is actually 111 inside the function because it is function scoped inside that function and is global scoped outside. Now there is one concern that is attached with var, and it is like if you want to declare another var x and give it a value of like 200, you can actually do that, which is pretty disappointing for many developers because in most of the programming languages redeclaring the variable is not allowed. And that's when let came into existence, because with let they overcame a lot of things, and to avoid the breaking changes they did this thing to have a different keyword for different variables, or they could have simply changed the var properties. But to avoid breaking changes in the versions of JavaScript and TypeScript, they introduced this let over there, and now you can see with let we cannot redeclare. You can see it says inside our text editor itself that you cannot redeclare blocks code variable x, and since I saved the file, you can also see in the compilation window the same error. Now let's remove this let x over there and see what happens when we do this. Okay, we are changing the block var into let again. Go to our browser and we can see that output is same. So basically there is not much difference except the fact that it allows you to redeclare the variable. But there is one more thing that's very not understandable with var to most of the programmers out there. And if we have a var x over there and we give it a value of a string integer like 111, and then we say a let y of 111, okay, that's 112 so that we can differentiate between them, and then we say if true because we want to go inside that block, so we'll make it true. And now if we redeclare the x using some string, okay, and then we redeclared our y using some string, okay. So you can see I use single quote so that you can see there's no difference out there. Now you can see with where it shows an error. The error is that subsequent variable declarations must have the same type. So since where x was integer or number in our case, it cannot be a string when declaring again. So if I just remove the string over there and say 154, and you can see there is no error. So your subsequent declaration for var should be of same data type, but not with let. With let you can have declaration of any number time if you are inside another block, okay, and you can change the data type of the redeclaration also. There's one more way of declaring data inside our TypeScript, and that is const. And const simply allows you to have a data type which cannot be altered. So if you declare a const x with 19 and you log it out, you log it out with console.log x, go to your browser, you can see the change over there in a while. Okay, so it's 19, and if you go over there and you want to reassign a value to this x and you do something like that, you cannot do that because x is a constant and you cannot increase, you cannot even do that x++ increment over there. So const value should remain same. You cannot reassign a value to the const data. But there is a trick over there, and people used to call it trick, but it is understandable. I'll tell you why. So if you have an object and you say it has a value of like name over there, and if you reassign x something like this, okay, you want to change the name to lovely and save it, you can see it says error because you are reassigning the value to x and x is a constant. But if you reassign the value to x.name, it won't show an error, and the reason behind that is that x.name is actually a property of x and the object essentially remains the same. For x, this object is what it is assigned to, and the value name inside the object is changed, so it doesn't matter for it. The object is essentially the same for const, so you are not essentially changing. So if you are just saving this file and go to your browser, you can see it says name lovely. Now I would like to tell you what to use at most and what you not. So in most cases we will try to stick to const because it doesn't allow you to redeclare, it doesn't allow you to left something like this. You cannot leave in const without any initialization. Of course you can initialize it to undefined, but you cannot leave it without initializing. So you have to initialize the const, so that actually gives some strict behavior over there. So that strict behavior makes const the most preferred way of declaring data inside our TypeScript. But when it is impossible to use const as a variable because you want to change the variable multiple times inside your code and you cannot use an object for the same, in that case I'll still say you can go with let or var, but I'll still advise to use let because let seems to be more modern and it makes sense that you should not redeclare your variable inside the same block, and you should not be forced to redeclare the variable with the same data type when redeclaring it inside different blocks. So that makes more sense to me and I advise it, but sometimes it also becomes more handy for flexibility purpose that you have var so that you can declare x inside the same block. So it's just a choice you want, but the preference order would be const, and if you are not able to do it with const, go with let, and if it is like you cannot do it with let also, then you must go with var. It is the final case. It is the least preferred way of doing variables or data in TypeScript or JavaScript also. So for this video, this is pretty much it. For now, I'll just change it back to console.log so that we can come back to video 3. Okay, so for this video, this is pretty much it, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe it, hit the bell icon because there's a lot of content coming all the way through this YouTube channel. And if you like this video, please like the video, share it with your colleague, and let me know in the comment if you want some specific video on some specific topic. I'll make the video on that one. So and as always, thanks for watching this video, guys.